Okay, so it's actually the 23rd of Movember, but I'm doing a few catch-up videos. So the subject that I'd like to do today is some work by Timothy D. Stein. Now, Tim Stein runs Willow Tree Couselling. He's also the author of this wonderful daily reading book for men and women who are recovering from sex and love addiction. And so for this video, I'd just like to present another tool. This is a tool that Willow Tree and that Tim has designed for that counselling service, that you can do an autopsy on your relapse. We do know that when people are recovering from addiction, that they will at times have slips. But if you do have a slip or a relapse, it's really important to be able to do an autopsy and work out what happened, what led up to what happened, and what do I need to change so it mightn't happen again. But before I do that, I'm going to do a reading, and the reading I'm going to do is from January 1st. And I might finish with a MOvember reading. But the reading I'll start with is from January 1st. And though no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a new end. It is never too late to make a brand new start. We all have situations and actions we wish had happened differently. Some of these have had a large impact on our lives, while others have had a relatively small impact. Since these situations and actions are in the past, there is nothing we can do to change them. Dwelling on the past will not change anything. However, we can make a significant positive impact on our lives. What we do now will change our future in small ways and sometimes significant ways. The end of our life story has not yet been written, and we can create a whole new ending based on what we do from this day forward. And the thought for the day is, what ending is my life heading toward right now? Is that the ending I want? And what gifts await me as I take action from this day forward to move my life in the direction of the ending I want? So that's a reading from Gifts of Recovery by Timothy D. Stein, and this is a relapse tool that Tim has designed for Willow Tree, and I'm going to go through it now. So, a relapse autopsy. The purpose of this relapse autopsy is to help you recognize what issues, patterns, and choices contributed to your relapse so that you can learn from it. After all, the only mistake that is worth less is the one that you do not learn from. This relapse autopsy will walk you through various aspects of your relapse and current recovery to help you identify what you have minimized that contributed to your relapse, what you have failed to do that allowed your relapse to occur, and what changes you can make in recovery to avoid repeating these patterns. The ultimate goal of this relapse autopsy process is to create sustained and solid sobriety. So it gets you in the beginning, of course, write down what was the nature of the relapse. So what addiction, if it's a co-occurring addiction, was there addiction cascade happening? And to be honest, this is a chance. Addicts, we don't do well with, we minimize use and consequence. So this is a chance to be honest. The next thing is to look at the behavior and choices. What choices did you make or behaviors did you do immediately before the relapse? What behaviors or choices did you make before that, and before that, and before that? So what we're trying to find here is how has this thing stepped towards? What literal decisions were made? Now, after reviewing your behavior and choices, what are some of the similarities to past relapses? So let's now review. Addicts do repeat the same mistakes expecting a different result. So let's try and make those links. After reviewing your behavior and choices, are there changes to make to your sobriety plan or your sobriety first aid kit? If we break some bottom lines and we look at our activation zone, what do we need to change there, and what do we need to change in our outer circle behaviors that will prevent this moving forward? And this is an opportunity to look at the relapse and add some more consequences that will lead to a better outcome for us. If you're a partnered person, this is certainly going to create some increased trust in that aspect of it. So justification and denial. What justification or denial did you use to convince yourself that acting out was okay, or that you were not really acting out, and to sort of outlay that? And after reviewing that justification and denial, what are some of the similarities to past relapses? Again, going deeper into the history of this. And after reviewing your justification and denial, are there changes that you'd make to your sobriety plan or your sobriety first aid kit? Event, situations, interactions. So what events, situations, or interactions happened immediately before you relapse? And then we go deeper and deeper. What events, situations, and interactions happen the day of your relapse, the day before you relapse, the week before you relapse, and what significant events, situations, happened 2 weeks before you relapse, and what events and situations that were scheduled to take place later of the day of the relapse, and what was meant to happen a day after your relapse, a week after your relapse, 2 weeks after your relapse. So what we're looking here is those themes, bookending, what happened when you relapsed and what led up to it, day, week, 2 weeks, same with after it. So after reviewing this, what are the similarities again with your previous relapses? And after reviewing this, would you make and how do you make now adjustments to your sobriety plan and first aid kit? Emotions. What emotions were you feeling immediately before the relapse, the day before you relapse? What significant emotions did you feel the day? Well, it was the day of, then the day before. Again, reviewing these emotional experiences. Anything similar here? I know for me, what was a big thing for me to discover was that if I had time alone, I felt abandonment feelings, and that was a big emotion that I needed to track for my recovery. After reviewing your emotional experiences, are there changes you'd make? Again, sobriety and recovery plan. We go through physical sensations. What did you see, hear, taste, smell, feel in your skin immediately before the relapse? Again, the day of, again, the day before, and reviewing these and looking again for those themes of past relapses and how now with this information might you change your sobriety and first aid kit. Keeping secrets. Patrick Kahn certainly talks about the 3 things that lead to relapses are unchecked secrets, an inadequate first step, and an insufficient recovery plan. So reviewing the previous section of the relapse autopsy, what secrets did you keep? What situations, experiences, and thoughts did you not share with others? Thinking about your past addictive behaviors and past situations where you feel shame or guilt, around, what secrets are you still keeping? And after reviewing your kept secrets, what are some similarities with past relapses? And how might you change your sobriety plan? And after reviewing kept secrets, what actions are there for you to take regarding rigorous honesty and amends? So do we need now to be accountable to partner, to work? Where might we need now to extend and work the rest of the program? So self-care, what self-care tools did you use the day you relapsed? What self-care tools would have been helpful on the day you relapsed that you did not use? Was there a change in your self-care routine in the week before you relapse? And after reviewing the self-care experiences, what are some of the similarities of, to past relapses? And after reviewing the self-care experiences, what contributed to your relapse? Are there changes that you need to make to your sobriety plan, first aid kit, and self-care routine? Consequences and impact. The other thing we need to look at is, well, what consequences and impact has your relapse had on you? What consequences and impact has your relapse had on others? And then we need to review the consequences and impact and see if there's similarities to last relapses. And after reviewing those, again, do we make any changes to sobriety plan or first aid kit? We next look at motivation. Prior to and during the relapse, what was your motivation for staying sober and resisting the urge to act out? What parts of your motivation were effective, helped you hold on to your desire to stay sober and resist the urge to act out? And what parts of your motivation were not effective, did not help you hold on to your desire to stay sober and resist the urge to act out? So after reviewing your motivation to stay sober, what are some of the similarities to past relapses? And after reviewing your motivation to stay sober, are there changes to be made to your sobriety plan or sobriety first aid kit? And where in your sobriety plan and first aid kit is your motivation to stay sober identified and reinforced? How easy is it to remind yourself of your motivation to stay sober when you are in the middle of addictive urges? Certainly one of the things in a sobriety first aid kit It's a letter to self that a lot of therapists and CSAT trained therapists will get a client to have and have on their, you know, smartphones or have in their wallet as a letter so they can read it at times like that. So action plan. Having worked through the relapse autopsy, I am making the following changes to my circles, inner, middle, and outer. Having worked through the relapse autopsy, I am making the following changes to my sobriety plan. Having worked through the relapse autopsy, I am making the following changes to my sobriety first aid kit. And having worked through the relapse autopsy, I am making the following changes to my self-care routine. And then having had worked through the relapse autopsy, I will explore, and I'm just going to shrink that video just a little bit. Can we do this? We'll do our best, folks. Having worked through this relapse autopsy, I will explore the following actions regarding rigorous honesty and amends with my therapist, sponsor, and support group. So here you have it. It's another great tool. I'm just going to stop the sharing, and so that's another great tool that you can have, the relapse autopsy through Willow Tree Couselling. That's Timothy B. Stein, and let's pull up. It's November 23rd, so let's just take a random day pick today. And it's just titled, Okay. Our addiction leads us into many problems. There are many ways we can change these problems if we open ourselves to the possible solutions. However, we often push away these possible solutions and justify our addictive behaviors with a yes, but statement. Yes, but I'm no worse than other red-blooded Americans, and in our case, Australians. Yes, but I never bring it home. Yes, but they don't understand me. When we change our answer from yes, but to okay, healing happens. What problems has my addiction created? What have been my yes, but answers? And what gifts await me as I start to answer okay? So guys, great book. You can get it on Amazon by Kindle or in hard copy. It's a great little reading book. It's got a you know, like for you guys in recovery, you'll know these things, but if you've never seen these, they're an inspirational reading each day that give you a quote, something to digest, and then a thought for the day. And yeah, this is MOvember. I'm going to try and do a couple of catch-up videos. I just saw U2 tonight. It was very inspiring. That band's inspired me, especially as a spiritual band, a Christian band. Been at EFT training, emotional focused therapy, couples trainings. That's been really good. And it's tired, it's past midnight now, but I'm a bit wound up, so I thought I'd try and do a catch-up video. So remember, donate to MOvember if you can. Be gentle with your heart. See you on the recovery road. Bye.